The telephone was invented in 1876. Just a few decades later, human beings got really good at doing this. It's a cool thing. Individuals were trained to put the wires where they need to be, so that in an era before color television, you could have a conversation in real time with anybody on the planet. At least anywhere the cables could be connected. There are enough wires, pipes, and vents to bring electricity, water, and air to every indoor space on the planet, and most of the outdoor spaces too. Yet, like cars, most of these rooms sit empty. Still, there are the wires, pipes, and vents. In outer space, this won't make sense, where energy and intelligent design are abundant, whereas heavy, prefabricated parts are in short supply. And so, engineers might decide to shift the wires, pipes, and vents in order to suit humanity's needs in real time. Walls will be filled with fluid, gaseous, and gelatinous insulators that will double as a circulatory system for robots. Structures will only use as much wiring, piping, and venting as is needed at any given moment. In doing so, minimizing waste. Do more with less. There are three important concepts that can make this idea possible. First is that AI will be abundant. The complex task of planning the location of the world's wires, pipes, and vents will be possible in real time because the engineers will only design cities. They won't run them. Two is that the ratio between the cost of mass and the cost of energy will begin to favor energy. For millennia, human beings have chosen to burn mass for energy as opposed to harnessing it directly. It was only with the advent of sailing and adoption of livestock and today's solar, hydroelectric, and wind farms that civilization is seeing the merits in skipping straight to the point. Mass has its costs. Whereas food, water, and shelter have been the most precious resources since life began, today is the heaviest metals, which are the most sought after, the most expensive to consume. And three is that cities on the moon and Mars will be curved. On Earth, cities would be curved, except that curves are difficult. Cities in all sorts of architecture, from construction to computer, is full of right angles for no reason other than it's easy to wrap our heads around. The world's greatest minds unanimously agree that the best way to think about the nature of the universe is the grid, the matrix, the table of values. But I think we all know deep down that the nature of the universe is curvy, and it's not just because we prefer curves. It's gone to the engineers' heads, though, and they've gone and made the world out of blocks. Right angles are problematic. The right angle is difficult to get a car or pedestrian around, at least difficult to do quickly. The right angle is difficult to clean and maintain. The right angle is difficult to insulate for sound, heat, and air. This is why every stadium on the planet is curved, and many museums, lecture halls, and architected public spaces too. We make our homes square, but when we hire the very best builders, they often decide to use curves. The politicians make the engineers straighten out the roads, but on the open highway, efficiency and aesthetics rule over bureaucracy. The truth is, we make everything from cities to silicon blocky and squared because it's easy to wrap our heads around. And there's so many more difficult, more important problems to work on, like making sure the skyscraper doesn't fall or that the wires all connect, as opposed to working on efficiency. So that's number three, the assumption that a future society is curved, especially on Mars, the moon, and outer space. The assumption that civilization will become decreasingly geometric and increasingly organic as our species advances. Evolution proves that geometric shapes are rarely efficient. Geometry is just a way to think about stuff. There will be fewer easily defined shapes and lines. If there is a geometric shape here and there, it won't be because it's simple. There will be circulatory systems, and every component of society will be designed to fail. In architecture, maybe, just maybe, it's time we cut some corners.